This is Empty the Bench with Tom Albano.
And you can blame the International Olympic Committee and the Major League Baseball Players Association trying to get all of that thing because, even though the Olympics are a, amateur competition, NBA pros, yeah. NHL pros, okay, not today with the NHL pros, but before, yeah.
Nick Morgeson.
The players are allowed to go. The owners of their teams are not allowed to refuse their players going to the World Baseball Classic. Stop it. Don't tell me that the owners who are investing hundreds of millions of dollars in investment saying they can't refuse their players to go. That's bullcrap.
Empty the Bench starts now.
Shh. Brett Favre might be listening. He might sue us.
Is it safe to come out now?
I don't know. Brett Favre might sue us still.
Oh, really? Well, at this point, I think we can let's summon another piece. Let's summon a different piece other than Brett Favre.
Welcome to episode 178 of Empty the Bench. Great. The episode hasn't even started yet. We're already going to that moron. Welcome to episode 178 of Empty the Bench on the Empty the Bench podcast network. Tom Albano, Nick Morgeson. Follow the show on social media at ETB Sports, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Follow the Empty the Bench podcast network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at ETB Network. YouTube.com/ETB Network. Subscribe to our YouTube channel where we're growing every day. I think last time I checked, we're at 320 subscribers.
320, yep.
So we're growing there. Also, find us across, and guess what? Podcast audio platforms. Yes, for the first time officially, this show is on Spotify. It's on iHeart. It's on Stitcher. It's on Acast. If you want to take our shenanigans in the car, to the gym, even the church, maybe. I don't know. Maybe you're praying and you're looking for something funny to listen to. I don't know. But you can now take us on the road and you can listen to us via audio. So no longer
etbpodcast.com.
Yes, etbpodcast.com, our website as well, blogs and information and a bunch of other things as well. All right, we got a big show in store. Actually, this is MLB opening day, isn't it?
Yes, happy MLB opening day. I actually came dressed for the occasion where I have my Aaron Judge shirt.
Oops, I forgot to wear something for opening day.
Oh, well. All I can say right now is, I don't see if you can read that, pitcher's fear standing before the judge. That's what the shirt reads.
Or you could go my favorite, 99 days and a judge ain't one.
Nah, I like one better.
But we have a lot to get into today. Ironically, that's all baseball you're going to see in this episode.
That's literally, there's one story. There's one story. It's a Yankee story. That's just for the fact that to get baseball in, because everything else, Nick, well, let me correct it. Most of everything else is football. So, again, going back to my theory that Roger Goodell probably realized the MLB opening day was coming and said, hell no, you're not getting the spotlight.
Nope, you're not taking the spotlight from me. NFL is 24/7, 365. How dare you take my spotlight?
So I guess then, Nick, we can say this.
Yep, Roger Goodell strikes again. But, believe it or not, we can't blame him for these stories.
Yeah. So we've got Lamar Jackson we got to talk about. We got to talk about Thursday Night Football. More of this Jets-Packers drama involving one.
RELAX.
Oh, great. I can't wait. Yippee.
Brock Purdy may have earned the starting job for the 49ers.
Well, his competition is Sam Darnold. That's not saying much.
And Trey Lance.
Oh, I even forgot Trey Lance was still there.
Bids for the Commanders if Dan Snyder's ever going to sell.
$6 billion.
No. You did it. billion.
It's a lot of money. Let's just put it that way. And let's put it this way. Could Josh Harris own another professional sports team?
It's possible.
What-
There's also some basketball news. You got Kyrie being Kyrie. You got the Basketball Hall of Fame in a very stacked class. You've got one of the most interesting Final Fours I've ever seen in March Madness history. And then, of course, you got an Arizona Coyotes owner who's been suspended for domestic violence.
Can't we go like a month or a year or something without somebody doing something stupid, whether it's domestic violence? Why does this show always get the jinx of a domestic violence story? Always does. I don't understand it.
Yeah, well, let's start with the big story. And if you've been on social media for the last week, it's been quite the craze of Lamar Jackson. So Lamar Jackson has released a statement over on his social media pages, which I'm going to try and bring up right now.
It basically, while you're looking for that, he basically was saying, I requested requested a trade on March 2nd, which was before all this nonsense went down.
Yes. Okay. It's called A Letter to My Fans. It's a 3-tweet thread. It's basically a Twitter form of a letter. I want to first thank you all for all of the love and support you consistently show towards me. All of you are amazing, and I appreciate y'all so much. I want you all to know not to believe everything you read about me. Let me personally answer your questions. In regards to my future plans, as of March 2nd, I requested a trade from the Ravens organization, for which the Ravens have not been interested in meeting my value. Any and everyone that has met me or been around me know I love the game of football. My dream is to help the team win the Super Bowl. You all are great. I believe the "you" is in regards to Baltimore and the fans.
The fans, yeah.
But I had to make a business decision that was best for my family and I. No matter how far I go or where my career takes me, I'll continue to be close to my fans of Baltimore, Flock Nation, and the entire state of Maryland. You'll see me again.
I happen to have read that. I read it a few times when that tweet thread or that tweet nonsense came out. There's a couple of things here. One, he's got to stop comparing himself to the Deshaun Watson contract. The Deshaun Watson contract was an outlier. Everybody, the whole world knows it's an outlier. I don't blame the Ravens, first of all, for saying just because Jimmy Haslam and the Browns made an awful mistake doesn't mean that we have to make the same dumb mistake with our quarterback.
Fair enough. But Nick, you also look at the fact that, you got Deshaun Watson, who's getting, how much is his AAV of the $230 million?
I think it's like 35 or 36 at least.
At least.
This year, or was that last year? Last year, it was only 1 million.
Right.
Because the agent strategically knew something was coming.
Yeah. But my point was there's that. There's the fact that, my organization is guilty that the Giants are giving Daniel Jones $40 million in AAV. So you look at, if you're Lamar and you look at, here's Danny Dimes, who is getting $40 million off of one good season. Here's Deshaun Watson, who can have so many women accuse him of sexual assault and rape, and he gets, all that big money from the Ravens. From the Browns. At this point, if you're Lamar Jackson, you're saying at this point, I want $45 or $50 million in AAV. I get what you're saying about the Ravens, that we're not going to make a mistake, but when he's seeing these quarterbacks, and Danny has won me over a little bit, but at the same rate, I still think Lamar Jackson is 5 times better the quarterback that he is. And if I'm seeing that, and I'm seeing Deshaun Watson, especially Nick, after Deshaun Watson in his 5 or 6 games that he actually played in Cleveland, he played like crap. And it's like, what the hell am I doing? getting tagged. Like, no, I want to make more money than these guys.
Here's the problem, though. So you have the big contracts. Now, the only reason the Giants gave him the $40 million is because they didn't have a quarterback in waiting. So that's why they had to overpay him.
And they had the cap.
Excuse me. Yes, they had the cap. But when you look at the business decision that Lamar Jackson is referring to in the tweet thread, I wouldn't give him a fully guaranteed contract. Sorry, I would not. He's been injured the last 2 years. I know he was a former MVP. I know he's a great quarterback. And also, I don't know if you saw what the Washington dumb statement the Washington GM made, saying that they'd rather have Sam Howell and who was the backup quarterback in Cleveland last year that filled in for Deshaun?
Oh,
Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah.
He said he'd rather have Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett than trade for Lamar Jackson, which I thought was bogus.
I was going to say, now, some of the NFL teams out there are being ridiculous. I understand I wanted to give up 2 first-round picks, but when you're making a statement like that, I mean, come on. Really?
That was bogus. It was the most ridiculous statement I ever read.
So at this point, I was going to say, at this point, everyone has some faults, and everyone is not going to get everything that they want, and this is a situation that nobody is going to leave very happy.
It's a lose-lose situation, but at the same time, if I'm the Ravens organization, how am I giving him a fully guaranteed contract when he hasn't been healthy for a full season?
Okay, maybe you don't want to give him a fully guaranteed contract, and I guess I can understand that, but go back to what my point is before. So, like, Lamar's base salary right now is 32.4. He's making $7.5 million less than Daniel Jones. I think Lamar has somewhat of a right to say, hey, I should be getting some sort of pay raise and not take the tag.
Well,
I'm just trying to have a look. I want to see, because there is one problem, and we kind of addressed it about the Ravens salary case. I want to see, not at free agency as past salary, I want to see what their salary case.
Well, the one thing I will say is he's getting mad at the wrong people. He should be getting mad at the NFL for the rules of the tag, like any other player who feels like they deserve to be paid, and then they're forced to get tagged because they don't want to pay the player.
And I just had a look, so I don't know if it's cap space all or cap space all with top 51 on Spot Track. The cap space with top 51 is $7 million. Cap space all is like only $1 million.
It's not a lot.
There's not a lot of cap space, so that's the issue. He should be getting paid more, but the Ravens just don't have the cap space at this point.
It's not even that. It's the dumb rule of the franchise tag. Do you know any other sport where they have a tag that you can put on a player? The NFL is the only one that has that.
Yeah. But that also leads me to say what I said. Like, yeah, I guess I understand you not wanting to get rid of him, but you know, if going to what Lamar said, if it's true what Lamar said about that they had no interest in trading him, like I see that dead cap, and I see the fact that even if he's tagged and plays one more season, after this coming season, he'd be gone. So it's like, why not take the opportunity right now and trade for him while you can get value and cap space back?
I mean, here's the thing. I think you and I discussed this over the last couple of weeks with his situation. He's not going to sit. I don't think he's going to sit out. He's not going to sit out because he's going to affect his trade value by sitting.
And that's where I'm going to disagree. And I say he is going to hold out. I think, and that statement that he is done with Baltimore. I think he is willing to sit out a year in order to ensure unrestricted free agency.
I think he's going to be hurting himself. Deshaun Watson hurt himself by doing it. I mean,
but Lamar Jackson also hasn't had 20-something women accuse him of.
Okay, I wasn't even talking about that. You're right about that, but I just meant him sitting out for a year, and then the injuries came up. That affected, even though Jimmy Haslam, again, was dumb enough to give him a fully guaranteed contract. Again, I will say that's an outlier, what Jimmy Haslam did. The Browns are an outlier. They will and always will be an outlier because... I'll say it one more time. The Browns are an outlier. No one cares what the Browns do. They don't care. The Browns are a garbage dump organization.
Browns gonna Browns.
Yes. They're not going to win with Deshaun Watson. Let Deshaun Watson make $46 million. You're just going to kill your cap. There's no other way to put it.
I agree, but then it goes back to my question of if the Ravens are this strapped for catch and this guy is absolutely miserable playing for you, then why not take the opportunity to open for trade?
I'll tell you another thing. They challenged him basically and said, "Go out and test the market and find an offer like that." Because then the trade would happen. So guess what? No teams have bid on a fully guaranteed contract yet, have they?
But number one, you're right on that. But number two, there's also the fact that the Ravens, per the rules of the what's it called?
The franchise tag?
The non-exclusive franchise tag.
He's allowed to negotiate.
Yeah, no, but not that part. That the Ravens have to get 2 first-round picks as a result. And I guess that's what's turning teams off.
You know what it is? First-round draft picks are like gold currency these days. Like, you don't want to release first-round picks. I mean, no one really cares this year because the quarterback market is a dump compared to the couple of years.
Right. You have CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, and then
it drops.
Out, yeah.
And hopefully no one takes offense, but Anthony Richardson's not a great quarterback. I mean, like, I know he's up there in the top 4, whatever, but after Stroud and who you said and Bryce Young, you drop off a cliff. So
yeah, Richardson to me is a B plus B.
But that Lamar's not helping himself by putting that statement out on Twitter at all. He's doing himself a disservice, actually, because now the Ravens are just going to be like, guess what? You're going to sit on our roster, and if you don't play, we don't pay you, so it doesn't matter.
And again, I understand where you're coming from, but I think he is of the mindset of he's going to do it. Is it right or not? I mean, that's not of me to say. At this point, Nick, I think right or not, I think his mind's made up.
Then he's got to take some of the blame if he sits out. I mean, it can't be only the Ravens' fault here. If they tagged you, they're willing to pay you $32 million to play, and you're choosing not to. That's on you. He should be paid. I'm not saying he's a former MVP. Now, it's questionable because he hasn't really made it a Super Bowl run yet, so he doesn't have the resume.
But Nick, in the last couple of years, can you put that all on him? I mean,
no.
Remember it was last draft that we were freaking out of, like, why the hell are the Ravens trading Hollywood Brown? Because at this point, I mean, Nick, no offense, but look at the team around him.
It's bad. Yes.
I think at that point you have to put that blame on Baltimore. You have not put a actual good team around him, especially in your division where you're no longer the top dog. At this point, I think it's solidified Cincinnati's top dog right there.
That's a whole nother situation too, with Burrow and Justin Herbert, who have their quarterback contracts coming up.
And then what happens? And then I know he's young and he has concussions, and then what happens if Pittsburgh develops Kenny Pickett? You're not going to be in a good situation right now. No, but I'm saying, I know I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Ravens are the 2, but considering that you're no longer the top dog in that division, if the Kenny Pickett develops for the Steelers, or if somehow, some way Deshaun goes back to old form, like, the bottom is about to drop out. Like, if you don't do something soon, if you don't resolve the Lamar situation, build a good team around him, the Ravens' run might be done.
Oh, the Baltimore stock has been dropping for the last couple of years.
Well, let me put it that way. It's not gonna be dropped. It's going to bottom out.
Oh no! In my opinion, it's already been dropping. But trading Hollywood Brown kind of was a telling trade last year. I still think that Lamar Jackson was unprofessional during the draft, tweeting out what he tweeted, basically cursing out the Baltimore Ravens organization. Now, I know he's upset, and I understand.
I was gonna say I do agree a little bit, but let's just put yourself in Lamar's shoes. If you are the face of that franchise and you were just blindsided that your wide receiver 1 just got traded, you weren't told about it. I think I would be like
I don't know if I don't believe he was blindsided.
and well, but also the Ravens first round pick on a receiver, if I remember correctly.
Right, but I don't know. Everyone he says he was blindsided. Could that all be BS to try to gain attention in the media? I don't know. It's a tough one. The Ravens situation is a tough one. I kind of look at it the same as the Aaron Rodgers situation with the Packers. I mean, like, and we'll get into that in a little bit, how not to be a GM and how not to be an owner when it comes to these situations. But who's the GM? Ozzie Newsome? Is that the GM of the Ravens? I think. If Lamar Jackson has to be traded, he should lose his job.
Oh, Eric DaCosta.
Is it Eric DaCosta now?
Yeah.
He should lose his job if they have to trade Lamar Jackson. And I mean that seriously, because this is a franchise quarterback. You're not able to sign your franchise quarterback. You're drawing a line in the sand, and you're blaming another organization on top of it for money, which I tend to agree with because that contract was an outlier. You focus on your organization, not what people are doing on the outside. If you want Lamar back, you need to sign him back, not put a tag on him.
And if you can't afford him, then you need to do something to get more cap space. Because, like I mentioned, the days of you on the top of the AFC North are done because Cincinnati has solidified themselves now as much better than you in this last season.
I mean, Cincinnati's going to have a young core for the next 5-6 years. I mean, like, what do you have to show right now? You have nothing. And I wouldn't say Tyler Huntley's exactly the best quarterback option if Lamar Jackson is out of here, which is what it looks like.
Mm-hmm. So at this point, no one looks great. But you and I just are gonna have to live to disagree at this point. I think he's done. I think he is not playing another down in Baltimore.
And you know what would be the funny part of that also? Lamar could be screwing the Ravens by not playing either because of trade value's sake.
Yeah. So everybody loses here. Oh, and speaking of everybody loses, let's talk about the very negative reactions to things coming out of the owners' meeting. Specifically, Nick, the decision that teams may now be able or now have the ability to be assigned multiple Thursday night football games in a season. Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, this is not a surprise. I mean, you see this with Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football. You're going to see the best teams end up in multiple games. I mean,
I agree, but at the same time, I do understand the concerns of that there's multiple short weeks now. I mean, there's a chance of more than one short week and it's not like you go from Monday Night Football to Sunday Night Football where it's 6 days. It's only a 3-day rest.
And you know what? I heard Roger Goodell make a statement to the media, and I can't remember it verbatim, but I just remember him basically saying, "Oh, well, the guys love Thursday Night Football because they think of it as a longer break once they play." Moron.
No, Roger, that's what we call a makeup. You're making up for the rest time lost, having to get ready for a Thursday primetime game.
No, but he's saying after you play the game.
I know, but I'm saying, like, no, that's what you call compensating for time.
Well, we know Roger Goodell compensates for a lot of things, including a brain. But I don't know. I'm of the belief that everyone should get exposure in all the games. You shouldn't be now. Obviously, you're going to see the Chiefs and the Eagles. You're going to see them a lot on the primetime game. In my opinion, because usually they open up on Thursday Night Football, it should be Chiefs Eagles on Thursday Night Football as the first game. If it's not, I'd be very surprised.
Well, most likely the Chiefs are going to be in the Thursday Night Football game. I mean, not the one on Amazon Prime, the NBC opener, because
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
they're going to have their big banner reveal. They're going to be, declared the champions and everything. It's just a matter of who they're going to play. Now, a Super Bowl rematch sounds good. I don't know if that's what the NFL is going to go with. I'm thinking they might go along the lines of like an AFC title rematch, like a Chiefs Bills or a Chiefs Bengals.
Chiefs Bengals would be good, but I wish they would do. They've done Super Bowl rematches before on opening night. I mean, I think it'd be the most entertaining of unfinished business.
It's either that or they do some sort of rivalry game. Because I remember the last time when the Giants had won in 12, the 2012 season opener was Giants Cowboys.
That doesn't surprise me. I would stay far away from the Cowboys right now when it comes to primetime games. But we all know that's not going to happen.
No, Nick, come on. We are America's team. We always gonna have some spotlight, and we're gonna be one of the best teams in the NFC East. Actually, we are gonna be the best team in the NFC East. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, those damn Eagles. I mean, they just lost Miles Sanders. That team's getting weaker. Yeah, we might have lost Zeke, but Zeke was nothing. Tony Pollard is where it's at now. Cowboys are gonna win the NFC East this year. How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, Jerry, you know what I think of your Cowboys?
You know what I think of the Cowboys?
I mean, I get in theory what they're doing because they want to have more of one team on Thursday night. They're thinking they're going to get more exposure.
And they want to be able to flex out, in case we get something like a Jets Jaguars again.
Yeah, good luck with that. The flexing vote was held off until May.
Yeah, that's the other part of it. There's a potential flex, which is going to be held off to May. And I told you this before we started recording days ago. That's a little tough, only because flexing normally comes into effect around week 12, week 13. We're getting closer to playoff time. And moving from Sunday to Thursday or Monday to Thursday is a lot harder than, say, moving from Sunday afternoon to Sunday night or from a Sunday to a Monday. That's a big difference.
You know what was funny though? Ironically, the one owner who spoke up was who?
John Mara.
Because he can't keep his mouth shut on any issue when it comes to the NFL. I don't remember exactly what he said, but he was like, "Hey, he can't do this." How about you go and actually get a primetime game before talking about the rules and issues of it?
Well, technically, they did get primetime games. They just got flexed into them last season.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's Thursday night. Oh, go ahead.
John,
go ahead.
Before you go, John, just focus on the season. You and the others, please just focus on keeping the Giants where they are with the progress.
You focus on winning playoff games. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
And then you could focus on whether you're going to get primetime games, which I think you got one or two primetime games for the first time in years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Thursday Night Football is not good to begin with. Not one network could figure it out. NBC couldn't figure it out. Fox couldn't figure it out. Now Amazon overpaid for it and can't figure it out.
And Al Michaels was sitting there in absolute misery this season.
Al Michaels is hilarious because he'll just make fun of everybody. He doesn't care about the consequences at all.
Honestly, Nick, Amazon has figured it out. Just have Al Michaels commentate the game. It's an absolute crazy show. Either way.
Go ahead. Put him and Kirk Herbstreit together and see what happens. You never know.
I mean, it's worked so far one season. At least their commentary.
All I can say is,
look at all the failure.
Shit show. All right. Speaking of shit show, do you want to talk about a shit show?
Perfect transition, Nick. It's time.
R-E-L-A-X. Great.
So, latest update on the Packers and Jets. So, Brian Gutekunst, I believe it's
Gutekunst, I think. I mean,
Brian Gutekunst.
This whole situation is a joke. I'm just gonna say that. God, go ahead. You can finish your sentence now.
No. You go.
I was just gonna say this whole situation is ridiculous in every way, shape, or form. the Mr. Gutenkoos, who came out to the media and basically was saying, well, I tried to call Aaron, but Aaron wouldn't return my calls, and his representatives turned me away, and blah, blah. Who the fuck cares?
So, along in those statements, Mr. Guggenheim. I'm sorry. Good.
You can't even say that name without laughing because it's so true. Gutenkoos.
I wish this is one of those ways that I'm just gonna. Yeah, I want a rookie of the year. This where you know what I'm talking about. A rookie of the year when the manager always gets named wrong.
Yes.
Gardenhose. So Mr. Gardenhose says that the Jets still need to trade their first round pick for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with any trade getting done.
The first round pick's not necessary. You just gotta give us something else of value. And Nick, wait a minute. I'm seeing it now. You're going to trade Garrett Wilson.
No.
You're gonna trade Sauce Gardner.
No.
You're gonna trade Brees Hall.
No. Let me put it this way. This whole statement that Packers GM Brian Gutekunst came out and said the Jets' first round pick is not necessary for Aaron Rodgers is...
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God. Stop you fucking lying.
Exactly what he said.
Yeah, I think Mr. Gudenheiser is just trying to keep some form of peace and say everything's fine. But remember what I said last week, Nick? No takey backsies. At this point, Aaron's put it out and you put it out. It's like no takey backsy.
Yeah, there's no takesy backsy at this point since he says my intention is to play with the New York Jets.
My intention, Nick, is also to be immunized.
My intention is to breathe, eat, and sleep.
My intention is to not have a witch of a girlfriend anymore.
You know what? My intention is to win the lottery, be a billionaire, and never have to do any other job again. We all can have intentions. It doesn't mean they're going to happen.
Nick, in the words of good old JR Jim Ross in the SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 video game, if wishes were fishes, the world would be an ocean. But that's not the case now, is it?
No. And by the way, Mr. Gutenkoos, you can enjoy this one too.
Stay off the weed.
Because he's on something if he thinks that the Packers are not going to walk away with a first round pick.
He's on the Guten J. That's what he is.
He's on the Guten Tag. I mean, this whole thing is ridiculous. Just make the trade. The Packers want to be out of the Aaron Rodgers business. They want Jordan Love to start, which should have happened about 2 or 3 years ago, to be honest.
Because why the hell did you draft him in 2020 then?
I mean, it's weird. People are like going all the way back to when Jordy Nelson was his favorite wide receiver, and they mistreated him, and he ended up with the Raiders, and then you got rid of Devontae Adams. Raiders again, ironically, and that rubbed Aaron the wrong way. But that one I understand because of cap space. It was either going to be Aaron or Devontae Adams. It was not going to be both. But the Packers didn't.
But Nick,
what?
I'm going to counter that. If now you only had one season of Aaron Rodgers after that, then shouldn't you have just signed Devontae Adams then?
Yes, absolutely, you should have. But the Packers.
So in other words, you're saying the Packers made a mistake last season.
Oh yeah, absolutely, they made a mistake. They're not going to own it though because they're in debt to Aaron Rodgers. So, well, they think they're in debt to Aaron Rodgers. No one else does. So
they are immunized.
I I just can't wait for the New York media to shit all over Aaron Rodgers when they start
I can't wait for the
0-3.
first controversy. I can't wait for the first page 6 headline.
I'm kind of hoping the Jets go 0-4 to start the season, just so I could hear the headlines on that.
And just so that way he can get on radio, probably ESPN, and say
RELA.
He'll create a new moment.
probably. And then if there's a video feed, he'll stick his foot up to the camera again.
God, I'm hoping the Jets go 0-4. I thought I'd never say that in my life.
Wait
But
a minute, but you're not a Jets fan anymore, aren't you?
Right, but I'm just saying. I thought I'd never be so happy to hope the Jets start 0-4 in a season. I never thought it would happen.
Welcome to the other side, my friend. Glad you're out of the misery.
Thank God. Just escape the shit.
J-E-S-T, just.
Great. All right, moving on. What's next?
Don't forget, we always got the Aaron Rodgers meme now of, that they are now going to have to share this music with Broncos Country Let's Ride.
God.
All right. In other news, so Brock Purdy really has won the starting. Not won the starting job, but he really seems like he is going to start for the 49ers now. So he goes from Mr. Irrelevant to a legitimate starting quarterback in the NFL. It seems.
I mean, what he said. What the fuck? I mean, Mr. Irrelevant is now relevant, like you had said to me, even though he started games and they won and they made the playoffs, whatnot. But now everyone's going to say, oh, well, maybe they make it further. Obviously, it's a fallacy of a predetermined outcome, but maybe they make it for. I don't know if they beat the Eagles, even with him healthy. I don't think they beat the Eagles, but we need to pump the brakes, big time.
Nick, you said it before. Look who his competition is. It's Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, who's coming off of a major injury again, and Sam Darnold.
It's not good. I'll say that much. It's not good. I like the Niners too. The rest of their team is fantastic. That's why I feel like the quarterback doesn't matter as much, because with Brock Purdy, they managed to almost make it to the Super Bowl. Almost.
I mean, when you've got Christian McCaffrey, who I guess is going to be staying in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I know he had dropped out, but I guess, the 12, was it something like $12 million? He ain't going anywhere.
He's not getting anything higher than that.
Deebo Samuel. Deebo being Deebo. Brandon Ayuk.
Even though he's been all over social media, Deebo, last couple days.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there were the concerns last year that he was going to get traded or request out. And, well, I mean, he stayed around. And like you mentioned, he almost got to the Super Bowl. So if everything stays okay, there's a chance that the 49ers can stay in the playoff picture.
The Niners are what I like to call the almost team.
The bridesmaid, never the bride?
Essentially, they're so good. They'll make it, all the way before the Super Bowl. But they don't have that little last push to make it.
They don't have the oomph factor that's going to get him it.
If they could, and when I heard this ridiculous rumor that Tom Brady was rumored to come back to maybe the Niners, that might have pushed them over the top, but it was never going to happen.
Yeah, well, it's never going to happen now.
Too bad. If they had gotten Aaron Rodgers, I think they would have been a team to watch.
Well, Nick, I was going to say, it's never going to happen now with Brady, we think.
Never know.
Next thing you know, Tom Brady's going to come out of retirement, join the Niners, and Gronk's going to come with him. Which would mean, Nick, that Gronk and George Kittle will be on the same team.
Just wait. Cover your ears for this one, because I'm about to play this.
Okay.
But
is that the Brady alarm?
that was the Brady alarm. I think maybe he's coming back. No, I really don't know. But
hey, if that's the case, then Aaron Rodgers is not going to be the only one going from the Brett Favre tree. I'm retired. I'm not retired. I'm retired.
Hey, every time you mention his name, we could get sued. Come on.
Where is he? I'm checking. I'm checking my windows right now, and I'm checking the vents to see if he'll ever appear.
Well, he apparently took McAfee to a bigger court, apparently for his case, which is so ridiculous, by the way.
Well, you know, they normally say like father, like son. I know Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers aren't father and son, but like franchise quarterback, like franchise quarterback.
I have no answer for that one.
All right. One other football story we got to get to. The Commanders have two $6 billion bids on the table. Not one, two. Not one, two.
We're in the money. We're in the money.
Yeah, I'm sure Dan Snyder is singing that, but he's also saying, "No, I'm not giving up my team."
No, well, Dan Snyder's. Wait a minute. They both called Dan Snyder's bluff because he asked for $6 billion. Now he's got two offers at $6 billion. So who's calling the bluff now?
Well, one is the Josh Harris group, which you have mentioned before on this show, I believe.
Yeah, and that group has Magic Johnson, who is, I think he's part of the Dodgers ownership group, if I'm not mistaken. Also, he was with the Lakers at one point. He gave that one up. And then you have this Canadian billionaire, Steve Apostolopoulos. I apologize if I screwed that name up, but I think I got that pretty close.
Mr. Apostolopoulos is as you said, a Canadian billionaire who is the founder of the private equity firm Six Ventures.
And apparently his bid is full cash, from what I understand.
Oh, fancy.
So I don't know if that makes much difference. Maybe it's different because it's easier with one person. I don't know. But holy shit, Batman. $6 billion. This man deserves no dollars. How about that?
Yeah, really. You know, he's going to, well, I mean, he's going to have $6 billion bids. He's, like you mentioned, his bluff got called. His bluff got called. First, by Mr. Snuffleupagus.
You're having fun with names today, aren't you?
Yeah. And then from Mr. Harris and company. That's all the big stars and such.
I mean, think about this for a second. Think about this. So, Daniel Snyder will have $6 billion. Robert Sarver has $4 billion. Those two owners who are the idiots of the century in ownership are going to walk away with a total of $10 billion.
Of course, because that's how it works. Although, Nick, once again, I don't know if Dan Snyder's going to be willing to give it up because, Nick, I know we don't have the soundbite, but I just thought of it because of Urinating Tree, because he was actually on MSG Network yesterday on the Betcast.
Wow.
So, yeah, good on him. But anyways, here's what I think of when it comes to the Washington, because you know what he's going to say, Nick, why he needs to stay in charge, because...
How would you describe the culture surrounding this football team? You know, the culture is actually damn good.
I think that needs to be intercepted. The culture is actually damn good.
Oh, we got to get him back. He is great. He's been on this show how many times now? 3?
Two.
Two. Yeah, he's hilarious. Who do I think's going to win this bid, though? I think the Harris Group will probably win this bid.
I think Dan Snyder wins this bid, Nick.
Well, yeah, technically he wins the bid. Yes, you're right. My mistake. But I think the Harris Group, which already Harris already owns the Sixers and the Devils already. So what's another $6 billion to him?
I don't know, Nick. Ask Mr. Loria how it feels to be in charge of multiple franchises. Oh, pardon me. I said the wrong word. To ruin multiple franchises.
Yep. Actually,
now, granted, the Sixers and the Devils are actually playing very well this season.
Those are great franchises, especially in the metropolitan area. So those will always make money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know about the Commanders right now.
Right, exactly. I'm just saying Well, we've seen one owner take charge of multiple teams and basically run them into the ground.
We'll go ask. Oh God, who's the White Sox owner? He also owns the Blackhawks, and he owns one of the other Chicago teams as well. I can't remember the guy's.
Jerry Reinsdorf.
Reinsdorf is the biggest asshole in the entire world. Like he owns the hockey team, the football team, and I think not the football team. He owns the hockey team and the White Sox.
He owns. Let's see. He owns the Bulls. He owns the White Sox.
And I think the Blackhawks, right?
No, he doesn't own the Blackhawks.
Oh, maybe it's just those two. All right,
Yeah,
but
those two. So that's all the teams that Jerry Reinsdorf owns.
yeah, really. I don't know ownership.
Right.
I just get annoyed with ownership. Ownership stinks.
And speaking of dork, and speaking of stinks, let's move to the basketball and let's talk about this individual again. Look who's back. Back again.
Yes.
Kyrie's back. Hang on.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Listen. I mean, I can't take it. This guy, he's public enemy number one. I'm officially declaring it now. It's
Worse than Aaron Rodgers.
It's no longer LeBron James when it comes to the NBA.
Oh.
Kyrie Irving is now public enemy NBA number one enemy. This guy can't stay out of the spotlight. He can't stay out of it. I don't know what it is. And by the way, if for people who didn't see the video, and I put it up on TikTok and I shared it across our platforms in case people wanted to see it.
Yeah.
So he is angry with a fan, and he does one of the biggest no-nos when it comes to an athlete. He walks over to the out-of-bounds line into the front, probably the expensive seats right under the basket.
Yeah.
And starts yelling at a fan, apologize, apologize.
Now, we don't know what the fan said. We don't know what the fan said. Let's be clear on that.
Right. And then obviously he's like, I thought so. You wouldn't say that. I hate that. I hate when athletes, first of all, he's sensitive as shit.
Second of all, I always get nervous when I see in that kind of situation because, Nick, I think back to 20 years ago, the Malice at the Palace, where the players actually went into the stands and the whole brawl broke out.
Now, that was different because, first of all, the rules were different way back when that happened. Also, you had Ron Artest, who at the time was...
You mean Meta World Peace?
Well, he was Ron Artest at that point.
Yeah.
I don't know what he is at this point. I think he changed his name again. I can't even keep track. But you had Ron Artest, you had Ben Wallace, two of the biggest hotheads in the NBA at the time. And then
actually, you're right. He's now... you're actually right. He is now Meta Sandiford Artest, which stands for MSA.
Great. Go ask Chad Ochocinco. He's changed his name a million times too. It hasn't worked out though.
So Mr. Meta Zuckerberg Artest.
Great. So he gets laid out. This was in Detroit, Auburn Hills. And a fan threw a beer at him, and that resulted in him jumping off the scores table into the stands. So, not that I condone a player going into the stands, but the fan kind of brought it on himself at that point by throwing the beer. This, on the other hand, no one knows what happened. All you see is Kyrie Irving going up to a fan and saying, apologize, apologize. You would never say that to my face. And I'm just like, can you just stay out of the goddamn spotlight for one day? Like,
no.
Is that like a foreign language to him?
Nick, it's just to ensure you're miserable.
No, I don't have to worry about him. He's not on my team anymore.
True. He's
on the Dallas Mavs. Well, he's in the perfect place because he's on a team that's owned by Mark Cuban. So,
and he's on a team, Nick, that's in the playoff picture is
in the toilet.
The 37 and 39, tied for the last play-in spot.
So in the toilet. Also, Luka Doncic, who's the bigger star on that team. Sorry, Kyrie, but Luka Doncic has more talent than you.
You say that, Nick, like people will actually argue Kyrie over Luka.
No, but some people are delusional. So he basically, without saying Kyrie's name, basically said, I can't play with Kyrie Irving in a press conference.
Well, I think, Nick, nobody can play with Kyrie Irving. Not even Kyrie Irving can play with
Kyrie Irving is damaged goods, okay? And you can attest to what I said many months ago, last year even, when we talked about the whole situation that he caused. I said he was damaged goods a long time ago.
Yeah, and at this point, it's like... At this point, Nick, you see that Adam Silver meme always going around after something. It's like, get ready to learn Chinese, buddy. It's like, yeah, well, you know what, Kyrie? That actually might be your future. You might have to go play overseas somewhere.
I mean, look what happened to Trevor Bauer. He's playing in Japan now.
Yep.
I mean, and people got mad at me for making a joke about that, but Trevor Bauer did it to himself. Kyrie Irving's about to do it to himself. I mean, I don't know if I compare it to Russell Westbrook, but Russell Westbrook is not as... I can't believe I'm about to say this, but Russell Westbrook is not as bad a guy as Kyrie Irving.
Not, yeah, I was going to say, not as much of a drama queen.
Yeah, and I can't believe I'm going to say that. Basketball, they both are bad. But I could see Russell Westbrook willing to accept a role more than Kyrie Irving is.
Kyrie Irving, I just hear his name, Nick, and all I can think of is...
Brother, this guy stinks!
All right, I'll push back on one thing. Kyrie Irving has talent. That's not the question here. Kyrie Irving has plenty of talent.
No, you're right. He can be. Nick, I mean, that 2016 team with LeBron James, he can be a solid number 2 and bring a team success.
He hit the game-winning shot.
But he's just a headache.
A headache? You're being nice. I mean...
A migraine?
Just a fuck up is what I'd really say. But my point is, Kyrie Irving hit the game-winning shot in the NBA Finals in 2016. Okay? The man has talent. They were guarding double and triple teaming him off LeBron. It's so weird. I mean, he's played with Kevin Durant.
Now, like, if the fan said something offensive, then yeah, all to it that the fan gets ejected.
The problem is when you look at the angle of the video and you see the referee in the background following him as he's walking out of the picture into the crowd without even Kyrie finishing the sentence. You see the referee go like to the fan, and I'm like, well, that's not fair. You don't know the context. I don't know. Kyrie Irving, in my opinion, is done. He had the chance. Look at all the guys he's gotten to play with. Kevin Durant, LeBron James. He was on the Celtics, so he played with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and all those guys. If he can't play with any of those guys, what teams are left?
And it's been, and Nick, he was drafted 2011, so it's been 11-ish years that he's played in the league. So it's not like he's spring chicken. We're going into the second half of his career if he's playing that long.
I mean, he's made enough money. He's already said it himself. I've made enough money. I believe him, by the way.
I agree. I believe him. But it goes back to what we talked about. But it goes back to what we talked about then with the whole vaccine thing. It's like, okay, if you're saying you made enough money, then retire.
Then go away. Don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out. No one cares if you leave. You made your money. I think he made over $150 million. Okay, fine. You lost your Nike deal. You lost your, I think it was a Gatorade deal or some kind of deal over the
anti-Semitic comments.
The anti-Semitic comments.
The video, yeah.
So to me, it's like he doesn't care. Like he'll just say whatever. And whenever there's consequences, it's what you and I were saying. Oh, you guys are going after me. What was that term he used when Nick Friedel called him out?
Dehumanizing?
He was dehumanizing me. No, Kyrie, you dehumanized yourself. That's what happened.
You also dehumanized other people, Kyrie.
Do you remember what I also said? That what's the biggest problem with someone when they're going through something? It's that they can't realize that they did shit and blaming someone else. The first way to get better is you have to realize you did something.
I have a problem, yeah.
If you don't know you're the problem, you're going to be stuck in shit forever.
Nick, I'm tired of talking about Kyrie. Let's talk about some basketball legends. This Basketball Hall of Fame class for 2023 is absolutely stacked. Dwayne Wade, Dirk Nowitzki, Paul Gasol, Tony Parker, Greg Popovich, who's still coaching, and Greg Popovich's old right-hand woman in Becky Hammon, who's now with the Las Vegas Aces, I believe is their coach.
Yes, that's right. What's interesting, and I was looking at these names, Dwayne Wade, except for the end of his career, because people don't really remember those years, he's a Miami Heat for life. Dirk was a Dallas Mav for life. Pau Gasol, I don't know what people are really going to... I mean, he won a title with LA.
I was going to say solid big man, I guess.
No, I wasn't questioning that. I'm trying to figure out. So he won titles in LA. He played in Memphis before Memphis was cool.
Mm-hmm.
But people are probably... He just had his number retired with the Lakers, actually.
Yeah.
Obviously, Tony Parker and Greg Popovich, Spurs.
Yeah, it's the Spurs championships.
So it was just weird. Like, this class symbolizes, for the most part, one team for most of these people.
Yeah.
So and
not just one team, Nick, but also championship teams.
Right. And Dwayne Wade, in my opinion, had the toughest road because I just remember. So first it was Dwayne. What was it? Dwayne and Shaq. People forget that, by the way, that Dwayne and Shaq won a title.
Won a title together.
And then I'm trying to remember. Then it went from Dwayne and Shaq to the Big Three.
Mm-hmm.
Which
and that's the thing. You know, like, I know people love to crap on the Big Three and crap on the idea of a super team and stuff. Like, even when I was in that phase, I still always held a respect for Dwayne Wade because it goes back to what we talked about with Curry and Durant. That, yeah, maybe the bigger star but you know what? Like how we talk about that's Curry's team, even if Durant's getting the MVPs. Yeah, maybe LeBron is the face, maybe he is Mr. NBA, but that's Dwayne Wade's team. Dwayne Wade, like you just said, is Mr. Miami Heat.
It was always Dwayne Wade's team. It was 100% Dwayne Wade's team. I know people were saying, well, LeBron was the heavy hitter. So what? Dwayne Wade made Miami cool to play basketball in, even to this day. Now, I know he's in Utah Jazz ownership and all this nonsense, but he'll always be remembered as being part of the Miami Heat. He should have his number. He should have his number retired by the Heat.
He should, especially if he's going to the Hall of Fame now. He should.
He's a shoo-in for the Hall of Fame. I don't know how many titles. I think he's got 3, if I'm not mistaken.
2 with the Big Three and 1 with Shaq. Yeah, 3 titles. 3 titles in like 5.
Yeah, 2006 and then back-to-back 2012 and 2013.
Yeah, I'd say 3 finals and 5 appearances, I think.
And then I think they went to the finals the year before. That's the year they actually lost to Dirk Nowitzki and Dallas.
Yeah, and then Nick, 2014 they made it, and they lost to Greg Popovich and the Spurs.
They had quite a run. I mean, winning 2 championships in 5 years is pretty good. But imagine if they had won another 1 or another 2. That would have been a dynasty if you think about it.
But Nick, I think it also says something when the 2 times that they lost, well, the people responsible for those losses are also entering the Hall of Fame alongside Dwayne Wade, in Dirk Nowitzki, Greg Popovich, Tony Parker.
Right, and that's kind of ironic too that it ended up that way.
Sorry, Nick. It shows you the talent that the NBA had in the 2000s, late 2000s, early 2010s.
It was also the rules were different. I hate to say this, but it's different era of basketball. You didn't have these. I'm trying to think of a nice word here to say, but I won't say the word. But I would say that the rules are a little P-wordish, if you know what I mean. Now, because if you touch somebody, it's a foul. Way in the early to mid 2000s, there was more aggressive defense when it came to basketball. You could get away with things. You push people, you hard fouls on people. Now everything's a flagrant foul. But I look at some of the guys on the Miami Heat roster, like Udonis Haslem, who said he's moving on from the Miami Heat after this season, which I was a little surprised. I think he should just retire. He's played a very long time. Yeah, Alonzo Mourning was another one of those guys way back when, who behind Shaq or just on the team in general, just really was a veteran presence. You don't even see that anymore. You don't see veteran presence holding teams together. So it's a great class. Dwayne Wade will, like I said, always be Miami. Dirk will always be Dallas.
Right. And then, Nick, there's one other person that we haven't made mention of, and that's Becky Hammon, who, in my opinion, Nick, should at some point get the opportunity to, even for a couple of seasons, be an NBA head coach. That would be really awesome to see. Now, granted, she's with the Las Vegas Aces, and all credit to her of what she's doing with that team. I'm just saying, Nick, about just remembering all the opportunities that she could have, she could have been a coach. They'll hold all those rumors of when Popovich steps away finally, that Becky Hammon would assume the role.
See, the tough part about that is when a head coaching role comes, you're going to run to it. It doesn't matter where. Head coaching role assumes power, assumes responsibility, and the WNBA is finally picking up in popularity. Oh, not thanks to Kathy Engelbert, though. But my point is that the league is picking up. ESPN has picked up more rights, even though ESPN is in the shitter when it comes to more layoffs that are coming. But they're spending more money on women's sports. And you're seeing the WNBA kind of pick up in popularity. Should she be a coach in the NBA? Yeah, I don't see a problem with that. I don't think it's going to be on a top market right away. I think she'll find one of the teams that are lower market, and then she can work her way up. It's usually how it goes.
Unless Popovich finally steps away and San Antonio does decide, you know what? Popovich and Hammond were a great combination. Maybe we go with it.
That would be a heck of a choice, too.
Especially if San Antonio is going in the direction of, like the playoff streak snapping. It's like, okay, maybe it's time for a new era, and maybe Becky Hammon becomes the face of that new era.
You know what it is? People are scared of firsts when it comes to changing the method of something.
Change in general.
So people are afraid of what the PR is going to be. And the thing that I don't understand about this, we see men's coaches in women's college basketball, or we see men's coach in all women's sports. Why are we not seeing it the other way? Why aren't female coaches ending up in male professional sports? We see them as trainers in baseball, or we're seeing them finally as bench coaches, but we're not seeing them as either a manager or a head coach or an assistant head coach even. That's what I don't understand. Why is the reverse happening, but the other part is not happening? That's a question I've had for a long time.
I don't know, especially, Nick, when you consider, like you mentioned, how much Becky Hammon was a fabulous assistant to Greg Popovich while she was in San Antonio.
But I think she got a 5-year deal or something with the Las Vegas Aces. I mean, that's tough to turn away.
It's tough to turn down, and all credit to her that she's, finally a head coach, and she's the head coach of a team like the Las Vegas Aces. But I'm just saying, if an opportunity comes up in the NBA, I think she would be, like you said, why not? Why not Becky Hammon?
Right. And unfortunately, the example I could compare it to is what happened to Eric Bieniemy in the NFL. Like, one is, I mean, they're two different things, but they're kind of similar in the sense of
why not? Like, why not?
Why not? You're having an issue with, I hate to say it, but the black demo or female representation. They're both kind of the same issue where people are having problems with it, and it's not a problem. If they're qualified to do the job, they should be allowed.
Well, again, if you're going in that direction, I wasn't going to go there, but if you're going that direction, the NBA always presenting itself as the more progressive league. Now, we've talked about debating that, but what would be the best? What would be one of the best examples of progression? A female head coach.
Right, and Becky Hammond is qualified. Let's make sure we say that first.
Absolutely.
That she's been sitting behind Popovich as an assistant coach for how many years? I lost track, but
You can say, and if there's somebody, Nick, I know we crap on, it's the Belichick coaching tree. If there is somebody in the NBA whose tree I want to be under, Nick, whose wings I want to be on, and
Popovich.
it's Greg Popovich.
Oh, she spent 8 years as an assistant for the Spurs.
And you don't, that's okay, and you, not you, but you don't think that maybe she's learned quite enough under him?
And believe it or not, that was all under Popovich because he's still there. So,
Right.
talk about a coach that's been around forever. She was also the first full-time female coach in NBA history. So, she broke the barrier once. Why can't we break the barrier again and make her a head coach? It would be interesting to see, like, if the Sacramento Kings job came open, would that be of interest? I mean, it's an NBA coaching job. I would hope she would take that if that was there.
Mm-hmm. Before we move on, Nick, I'd say we just have a bunch of smaller stories here, but before we do that, Nick, little bit of breaking news. This is not breaking news by the time you all are listening to this, but just for us. Jeff Passan has just tweeted out that a deal is in place between the minor league players in the MLBPA and Major League Baseball on the historic first collective bargaining agreement for minor leaguers. Union officials have told ESPN. The deal is 5 years and includes at least 2 times pay at all levels of the minor leagues. Details
Wow.
on pay. Details. Here are the full details on pay increases in the minor leagues. Complex League, which I guess is the lowest there.
It's probably the lowest.
Lowest of the low. Yeah, under low A. So like your short seasons, rookie balls or whatever. 4,800 from 4,800 per year to 19,800 per year.
Wow.
Low A from 11,000 a year to 26,200. High A 11,000 to 27,300. Double A 13,800 to $30,250, and Triple A from 17,500 up to $35,800. Players will be paid almost year round, aside from a 6-week break in the winter.
Interesting.
He also noted because this is the first CBA for minor leaguers, there are tons of details to sift through. Player leaders have ratified the deal, and it is tentative until the rank and file agreement, which the union expects. Similarly, MLB owners need to agree after the league office negotiated. So it's not technically official, but it seems like this is the direction of where we're going. And, I hate the fact that we've lost so many minor league teams, including, my own hometowns. But to see that pay increase, man.
It's good, but in my opinion, it's not enough.
Oh, there absolutely needs to be more. There absolutely needs to be following up on this. We can't just say, okay, mission accomplished. We've solved inequality in baseball. No, there's still more needs to be done, but this is good progress.
It's good progress, but those are still not living wages.
You're right.
It's good. I'm not crapping on it, but if you listen, what was the highest number again? The highest of the range.
35,800 for our triple A's.
That's not living wage. That's not.
I'm taking that. That might be the minimum pay, I think.
Well, you said that was on the higher side of the range, like for like AAA, because I think that was the highest number. Right?
When I said from blank to blank, I mean for Complex League, the minimum pay went from 4,800 a year. They're now making 19,800.
Oh, but what's the highest number, like AAA? Because I'm assuming that's the highest number.
Oh, that I don't know.
It doesn't say it.
This is just the minimums from Passan.
It's good, but they got to do a lot more than that. Like, I like that. I was a little surprised that the minor league would even agree to a union because of all the service time issues that they're having. I wonder if that's part of the agreement. Now, that could be an issue because you're kind of crossing bargaining agreements between the minor league and the MLB when it comes to service time. But I still think that rule is the worst. By the way, that you can essentially what was
service time regulation?
what was the day? I think you said it.
August 17th or something like that.
So you could literally bring someone up August 18th and say, "Well, I get you for a whole nother year or whatever."
Which is what I was afraid they were going to do with Anthony Volpe, but fortunately they were smart on that.
You saw that video, by the way.
Yeah,
That was kind of cool.
I know. I was going to say, I think if Jason Dominguez plays well in AAA, in my opinion, that's what the Yankees are probably going to do with him. They're going to wait till after August 17th and bring him up for the end of the season.
Yeah, you're not going to see him until August 18th. I'll tell you that right now. But they did have to bring up Esteban Florial, though.
Yeah, well, he's not going to do much.
He's out of options, though. I guess that's why they put him on the roster. But all right, we're getting off topic here. But just I just wanted to finish on one last thing with the minor league deal. It's good. There's more work to be done.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Nick, Final Four this weekend. You got a number 9 seed, 2 number 5 seeds, and a number 4.
That's
Nick,
pretty damn good.
Out of all the brackets in the world, 6 predicted the Final Four. Out of the hundreds of thousands of brackets, just 6.
That's a lot. I give you a lot of credit. I mean, that kind of deserves this.
Yeah,
I mean,
big up to those 6.
2 Florida teams, Florida Atlantic, which nobody expected. This is a complete shock.
Yeah, the Cinderella team of the term. By the way, Florida Atlantic versus San Diego State. That means a mid-major team is going to be competing for a national championship.
Do we have a Florida versus Florida opportunity here or no?
If Florida Atlantic beats San Diego State, Miami beats UConn, yep, Florida versus Florida.
That would be sick. Just have the Battle of Florida in the championship.
Mm-hmm.
But no, this was great. And like we said, we lost North Carolina, didn't even make the tournament. Duke was out early.
All the number 1 seeds were out before the Elite 8.
Purdue was a huge upset earlier on. There was a lot of upsets. I mean, it was a great tournament.
I always tease about Upset City. This NCAA tournament was Upset City.
This Final Four is Upset City.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of hope Florida Atlantic wins the whole thing.
Nick, now that you say it, I don't know if it's going to happen, but now I want Florida versus Florida. I want the Florida matchup.
I think that'd be insane. They
Florida final.
Yeah, really. I mean, these teams deserve a lot of credit. I mean, UConn is considered high basketball college.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but
although it's funny that they made the Final Four and they're the highest seed of all the women's team for the first time in so many years didn't make a Final Four in women's basketball.
I mean, that's pretty much going to South Carolina anyway. They're the best women's college basketball team right now. I don't really see that changing here. I don't know. This is 4 new teams here in the Final Four. I mean,
this is pandemonium.
I'm so used to seeing like one of the big schools making the Final Four.
Yeah.
And then they run away with the whole thing. Like, that's not going to happen this year.
No. And it's a welcome change. I like it.
I hope it's good.
This story, however, is not so good. So this is over at the NHL. Arizona Coyotes minority owner Andrew Barroway, who was suspended indefinitely after he was arrested for domestic abuse. So I'm going to try to find the article right now and just quickly.
I read a little bit on it. It's.
I have it. I have the AP report right here.
Okay.
There it is. Okay, Arizona Coyotes minority owner Andrew Barroway was suspended indefinitely by the NHL on Friday. Friday being the 24th. Following his arrest for domestic violence in Colorado. Barroway spent the night of the 23rd in Pitkin County Jail after police arrested him at an Aspen hotel on a felony strangulation charge, according to a police report obtained by the Aspen Daily News. The NHL is aware of the arrest of Arizona Coyotes minority. Okay, that's just a generic statement. The 57-year-old Barroway was arrested after a verbal altercation with his wife turned physical, according to the police report. He is prohibited from having contact with his wife except when it involves their children and can't consume alcohol under a court order. Barroway faces a Class 4 felony charge of second-degree assault related to strangulation and a third-degree assault charge, according to a court affidavit. So somebody had too much to drink, and as it said, the altercation turned bad. That's what I get out of this.
People with power take super advantage of their power. It doesn't matter if you're the higher majority owner, you own a minority percentage of a team, you're a rich. Unfortunately, I hate to say this because we're two men here, but sometimes men with power, it goes to their head.
And if alcohol truly was involved, then, well, when this is what happens when you let your vices, then, well, just alcohol in general get to you. You make some really stupid choices.
I mean, I don't know what the rules are. Are we going to go all the way back to the NBA with the whole Clippers situation? I mean, like,
Yeah, now he only owns about 5% of the team.
I mean, that's still pretty significant, 5%. But and the Coyotes have a bad reputation already with all the situation they're dealing with.
Nick, they play in a college arena.
Well, because of that stupid, they couldn't come to a deal with their rights or whatever, right?
Yeah. Yep. They've had money issues for years, this team.
Aren't they like close to bankruptcy, if I'm not mistaken?
They were at one point. I don't know if they still are. At this point, take the Arizona Coyotes and just place them. I don't know. Place them somewhere. Place them on Pluto.
Send them to the Alaskan Basketball League. I don't know.
They're chewy.
Blubber Nuggets. Anyway, no one's going to get that reference. Anyone who's a 90s kid will get that reference. Anyway.
I don't give a shit.
Sorry, we're not trying to laugh at this situation, but this whole
thing. You're throwing up the Alaskan Basketball League, and now my mind is on Fairly Odd Parents now. It's your fault.
I mean, I guess, well, then this goes with it.
Oh, the failure!
Andrew Barroway is completely a failure at this point.
I mean, again, is this going to go back to Donald Sterling? Is he going to have? He's probably going to have to sell his percentage of the team, or no?
I wouldn't mind that. And again, Nick, this is only 5% of a team, so it's not like he's selling off all. But like this was an easier transaction, I feel.
Well, it'll still be millions of dollars that he doesn't deserve.
Of course, because that's how it always works.
I mean, domestic violence is. You and I have dealt with many domestic violence stories in the world of sports. And again, we never get the proper outcome. Sell the team, be suspended, throw them out of the league. Never happens.
And we're never happy with teams. We're never happy with the result. We don't get the result we need. We did get the result we needed as Yankees fans, though. Anthony Volpe making the opening day roster. Going to be the starting shortstop.
Hallelujah. I mean, I could just see you now. Like, if he wasn't announced as the starter, they're justifying the trade. They're justifying the trade.
Well, I mean, Nick IKF is going to, at least he's still around, and Josh Donaldson, I mean, they're forced to keep him around with the money, I guess. So, in a way, they're still trying to justify the trade.
Put him at third. Just put IKF at third. Make Donaldson DH. No one gives a fuck about Stanton at this point.
That contract says something, though.
Well, whose mistake is that?
Thanks, Jeter.
Yeah, really. Who would have thought Derek Jeter would be the fault of a situation with the Yankees?
Nick, all I know is I can't wait for the first Fox broadcast. Whenever he starts, it's going to start like June or something.
Yeah, did you see the story, though, that Fox apparently went to A-Rod for approval to have Jeter hired?
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Big time. Andrew Marchand had it.
Well, I guess he said yes.
That's ironic. They went to A-Rod to get Jeter hired.
Well, Nick, you saw why he's there, right? because
He's only there for like 2 series or something.
no, Nick, because he saw Big Poppy flashing his ring to A-Rod, and he's like, "Okay, Big Poppy, I gotta go show you what actual success looks like."
God. Can't win.
No, but you know what? You all win because this episode is over. You've made it to the end. Congratulations.
Yeah!
All right, one more time. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified of all the shows here on the Empty Bench Network, and including that includes new episodes of Empty the Bench. Also, make sure to go all the audio platforms, all our audio platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, so much more. Acast, for all the audio versions of this show. Make sure to like and follow us across social media, ETB Sports, and the network itself at ETB Network. You just saw our social medias, those on the video feed. You just saw our social media scrolling across the screen at Thomas J. Albano at N. Morgson Radio. Again, youtube.com/ETB Network. Subscribe. We're at 320 and growing. And don't forget to go to etbpodcast.com for all the information you need on the Empty the Bench Network and blogs from all of our hosts. So, that's going to do it. Happy opening day, everybody. We hope, this is the start of let's hope, a good baseball season.
Good old Rob Manfred will ruin it on opening day. Just wait.
Oh, I'm sorry. What did you say?
Oh, God. Of course. Couldn't go an episode without it.
I think this needs to be on our credit screen for this week.
Well, let's put it this way. Now that baseball season will officially be underway, you're going to see this a lot.
Yeah. All right. So for Nick Morgison, I'm Talano. We'll see you next time on Empty the Bench. Take care, everyone.
See you next week, everybody.